do? What is up, Giants fans? It is your boy Jay Dimes. We're back at it with another New York Giants video. Back at it with another New York Giants banger. And this is your first time watching, make sure you leave a like, make sure you comment, and make sure that subscribe button if you love you some Giants football. Now let's get right into this one. So in this video, I wanted to preview the New York Giants heading into the second half of the season. We know that we're going to be getting some guys back off, injury-wise. Possibly signing Odell Beckham Jr. maybe, and we're also going to talk about the Giants and the thick of things when it comes to the rest of the schedule and how there are some big games coming up for the New York Football Giants. But first, I want to talk about some guys they are getting back, and one of them being Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay, man, the big pay man, I guess you can say, man. He will be suiting up for the New York Giants versus the Houston Texans. At least that's what the reports are right now. Anything can happen. But Kenny Golladay coming back, even though he's been literally zero help to the team, even though he's not scored one single touchdown for the team ever since coming here. I still do think the Giants really need him. That can go without saying. The Giants do need Kenny Golladay, and they do need Kenny Golladay to step up. I kind of see on Twitter and the reports, basically it's kind of like the stock is going up on Kenny Golladay. I think there's been a little bit of hope back into the Kenny Golladay circle. I don't know if that's because the Giants didn't trade for a wide receiver, but Kenny Golladay has a chance again to prove why he was brought in here. Now, do I expect him to go out there and catch for over 100 yards, just have a all-time performance? No, but it wouldn't hurt if he got his first touchdown as a New York Giant this week versus the Houston Texans. And we're looking at the New York Giants for the rest of the season. He has to play not for the Giants, but for the next team. He's not gonna just retire, I don't think, after this season. He still has, a couple of years left, in my opinion. At least I think he thinks he has a couple of years left. So if he goes out there, he balls out for the New York Giants the rest of the season, the Giants are going to end up inevitably cutting him, over the offseason. So whatever team wants to sign him is going to be based on what he does for the next couple of games of the season for the New York Giants. But let's look at the big games. Let's look at the the thick of things when it comes to the New York Giants and this second half schedule. Now, the Giants do have the Texans and the Detroit Lions for the next two games, and in my opinion, those are warmer games for the New York Giants. Those are warmer games for the New York Giants. I'm not knocking the Houston Texans. I'm not knocking the Detroit Lions, or I guess you say I guess you could say I am knocking them. But those two teams are not teams that I think the Giants should lose to. If the Giants play like they played against the Packers, play like they get against the Ravens, they should, handle those two teams. Now, I'm not gonna say easily handle them, because there is no easy win when it comes to the New York Giants. But I think those are two teams that you can warm up with before you get into that division game on Thanksgiving versus the Dallas Cowboys, which is going to be a huge game. It's a primetime game. You're on the big stage. Everyone's watching on Thanksgiving. It would be a big boost if the Giants were able to knock off the Dallas Cowboys in that game. And it's a division game. This is a very tight division when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants fighting for that second spot in the division. The Washington Commanders, even though I don't think they're going to do anything crazy, they've won a couple of games. They are coming off a loss versus the Minnesota Vikings, but they have won a couple of games. And even after that, you still have the Vikings, who have a pretty good record. I think they're 7-1 right now, coming off a win versus the Commanders. And you still do have the Commanders for 2 games, and you still have the Eagles for 2 games. And I don't think the Eagles are that good as the record shows, in my opinion. I think if the Giants are fully healthy, if they do have Azeez Ojulari and some other guys, some of the offensive line pieces like a Evan Neal, a Ben Bredeson, if they have those guys for those games, like the Philadelphia Eagles game, I think the Giants are going to be able to hang with them. I really do think they're going to be able to hang with them. I don't think they should struggle to beat the Washington Commanders. And with Dallas, the stats show that we don't really suit up well versus the Dallas Cowboys. But I think that the Giants are going to be motivated to go out there on national television and try to knock them off on Thanksgiving. Now let's look at Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr., the guy who's like the last big move I can see of the season. We already passed the trade deadline and stuff like that. He's came out and he's just been stirring the pot for each team. You've seen him say stuff about possibly rejoining the New York Giants. I think it was on Twitter, the Micah Parsons and Dez Bryant were trying to recruit him to come to Dallas, and he said basically, hey, I got people, that live in that area of Dallas. So maybe he's stirring a pot with the Dallas Cowboys. He's already been stirring the pot with possibly signing with the Buffalo Bills. And I think another team that he had named was the Green Bay Packers. I don't think he's going to sign with the Green Bay Packers. They are like 3-6, 3-7. Things aren't looking that good right now. Aaron Rodgers low-key looks washed. Just not a good situation going on right now in Green Bay. But those three other teams, like the Bills, like the Packers, and the Giants, those are teams with winning records. Those are teams right now that are, heading towards the playoffs right now, and as everything stands. And I don't know if he will end up signing with the Giants, but I would love for OBJ to return to the New York Giants. I feel like the vibe of the locker room would just, even though I think the vibe of the locker room is already good because we're winning games, we're competing right now. Bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. back to New York just raises the morale of the locker room even more. You got OBJ on your freaking team, man. Why not try to go out there and win? Joe Shane did say that OBJ is a guy that they would try to look at. And I think it was Jake Glazer who reported that Odell Beckham Jr. would be cleared this week or sooner rather than later. So we can start getting ready to see suitors go out there and possibly try to go and get Odell Beckham Jr.'s services. Another thing, we're looking at the extensions. Now, we've seen reports possibly about the New York Giants extending Julian Love, who is going to be, the green dot guy with Xavier McKinney out due to the whole ATV accident, all that stuff. This is where you make your money. This is where you make your money. Those big games are coming up, like versus Dallas, versus Philly, versus Washington, those big division games. If you're able to come out and show out and, have great performances in those games, mostly Saquon Barkley and mostly Daniel Jones, that's where you make your money. That's when you're negotiating, you can say, hey, you remember that big game versus Philly in the last week of the season? And when I came out there, threw 4 touchdowns, when I came out there, ran for over 100 yards and ran for 2 touchdowns, that's where you make your money. That is where you make your money, Saquon Barkley. That's where you make your money, Daniel Jones, and any other free agent that we got on the team. That is where you make your money, and I'm just waiting for the Giants to get fully healthy, though. I'm waiting for the Giants. Waiting for the Giants to get fully healthy, because if you get a guy like Azeez Ojulari back, who I am very huge on, you got him, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Dexter Lawrence, who's arguably one of the best defensive players right now in all of football, defensive lineman in all football for sure. You got Leonard Williams, who's coming off his best game of the season for the Seattle Seahawks. If you're able to get Azeez Ojulari back in the right time, you're going to actually have the 4 guys on that defensive line playing at all times. We've yet to have a game where Ojulari, Thibodeau, Lawrence, and Williams all suited up and played together. And I just cannot wait to see how this defense looks with those 4 guys on the defensive line going after teams' opposing quarterbacks. Can't wait. I'm ready to see it. I really hope Azeez Ojulari comes back sooner rather than later. I think he got on I know he was on the IR. I think at least 4 games he had to miss. So I think it's been 2 games, so I could see him possibly returning for the Dallas Cowboys game. I could see him returning for the Dallas Cowboys game because that would be the 5th game that he's been on the IR. But look at the offensive line also, getting guys back like Evan Neal, Ben Bredesen, Shane Lemieux was activated off of the PUP list. You got Nick Gates back in the group of things. The Giants' offensive line might be rearranged heading into this, second half of the schedule. I looked at Nick Gates. We all seen him in the Seattle game. He was moving people. In his first game back off that horrific injury, he was moving people. And, Ben Bredesen, before he got hurt, was not doing bad at all. Was not doing bad. Shane Lemieux is back. So, it's going to, I don't know, man. I can see the offensive line having a little bit of a changing up as we get closer and closer to the season. I want to see Nick Gates have some more snaps and over John Feliciano. I really do. John Feliciano he's just not good. You know what I'm saying? Mark Lewinsky has not looked that good. But I would love to see how the offensive line looks when we get everybody back healthy. And that's going to be a huge part to the success of the New York Giants heading into the second half of the schedule and hopefully heading into the NFL playoffs. But I can't wait to see how everything plays out. We're getting back into the groove of things. More videos are going to be out about the New York Giants. And that's really it, though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you comment, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, go Giants.